address the accessibility and the quality and special education services that are provided, and whether the policies and procedures that are in place are actually being followed at both the district and the individual school levels in compliance with California law. So the majority of parents are not aware that a CAC even existed before last week or 2 weeks ago. Or that the selpa had been deciding meeting topics without parental approval or input. And this is problematic because it threatens the legally mandated rights of the parents and educators to participate in our education. This Russell and the selpa employees are supposed to be modeling transparency for everybody at every level. And we're worried about responsiveness and authenticity and honesty for special education programs. And we're wondering how we can expect all of our parents to have a voice if they have not been provided the opportunity to do so. This is not just about the formation of the CAC. This is about our ability as parents to advise on the local plan at all levels of the education system, and most importantly, the classroom for our kids. If you're not allowing parents to have a voice as members of the CAC, then you're stifling our voices at all levels of our kids' education. Parents know our kids best, and we're uniquely equipped to advise on their needs. We feel as though you are shutting us out, and we would like this to stop today. We're prepared to start a new chapter with you guys. We want to work with you, because when we work together, everyone benefits better. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
I'm gonna support Erin, and for the Spanish-speaking parents, I'm gonna say it in English. So you know we stand together as one, we're one voice. It's not just Erin, it's everybody here in this room that are parents. And it's not just the San Isidro district, that's my district. So I also wanna say that it matters to me a lot because I have 2 daughters with IEPs and special education in San Isidro. And it seems like we've been having to fight for the bare minimum from the beginning. The bare minimum. And it's not right. I even honestly emailed you guys before, and you guys were kind of standoffish, didn't want to really help me. And it feels like I've been having to find resources. And we as parents should be able to trust the people that are in power to be empathetic, to care about it. Just because we're the ones south of the border that don't speak Spanish, that don't speak English, that don't know their rights, that don't have an education, doesn't mean we have the same rights as everybody else. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and say it in Spanish for the people, because we don't know how those. La única razón por la que estamos molestos es porque no recibimos los servicios que necesitamos ni la capacidad para utilizarlos. Mucha gente aquí hoy ni siquiera sabía ni había oído hablar de esta comité. Nos preocupa la integridad. Esto es particularmente problemático porque amenaza los derechos legalmente establecidos de padres y educadores a participar en la educación de sus hijos y estudiantes. selpa ha estado decidiendo temas de reuniones sin la opinión de los padres en violación del mandato estatal. Se supone que Russell debe ser un modelo de transparencia, capacidad de respuesta, autenticidad y honestidad para los programas de educación especial en los 6 distritos del sur. ¿Cómo podemos esperar que nuestros padres tengan distritos escolares que tengan voz? No se trata solo de la formación del CAC, sino de nuestra capacidad de permitir que los padres asesoren sobre el plan local que se extiende hasta el aula. Si no se permite que los padres tengan voz en el CAC, ¿cómo vas a tener voz en el plan escolar o incluso a nivel distrital? Los padres conocen mejor a sus hijos, estamos mejor equipados en términos de asesoramiento sobre lo que nuestros hijos necesitan. Nos están excluyendo en todos los niveles posibles. Esto se detiene hoy. Estamos preparados para comenzar un nuevo capítulo. Queremos trabajar con usted en colaboración con establecer este CAC en el espíritu del Código de Educación Especial y en el espíritu de nuestros niños. Cuando trabajamos juntos, todo se beneficia. Declaración. Todo el mundo que está aquí, los que no quieran hablar, es importante que sepan que tenemos una voz y que estamos juntos, porque yo puedo decir que estamos juntos, pero ¿quién me va a decir que es cierto? ¿Quién está aquí apoyándome? Necesitamos hablar.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Cindy Jarman, and I'm a parent of 2 children with 504 plans, one in Chula Vista Elementary and one in Sweetwater Union. One of my children is a 6th grader who will be leaving Chula Vista Elementary and going into the Sweetwater District. I stand with Aaron and Roxanne and the rest of the parents here. We're collectively requesting to be added to our district's January board meeting so that we can request membership approval to be part of the CAC. The CAC bylaws are to follow the CAC bylaws as mandated by the Education Code. I'm a concerned parent who's actively involved in many school committees. I'm a member of 3 PTAs, a board member of 2 of them, a member of 2 school site councils. I'm on the ELAC board for 3 years at Salt Creek. I'm a DLAC rep this year for CVSD. I had no idea this committee even existed. If it did, I certainly would have tried to be on the committee or at least attending the meetings, as both my children do have 504s. So let's see, I would like to be involved in future special education committees, and I would like to help other parents who have trouble experiencing or navigating the annual 504 and IEP process. And I would like to have a voice in what seminars are given to parents. So I can ask other parents too what they would like to learn about. And I believe that's about it. Thank you for letting me speak.
Good morning. I am totally not prepared anything that I was going to say, but my name is America Ellis. I'm with National School District. I have a son in 2nd grade, and he has an IEP. I did not know this existed until probably like a year and a half ago. We started, our journey was very hard, you know, and I think whenever I come across a parent now that's starting their IEP process, I always like to tell them, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like if you would tell me that my kid would even be reading, my son has autism, dyslexia, and dysgraphia. And I never thought, you know, that we would be where we are right now with the services that he's being done at the school and everything. It was a struggle. We had an amazing, you know, advocate that helped us, but kind of, you know, again, not prepared, and I ramble a lot. But I would love to connect if there's any parents from National School District here present. I would like to connect with you because we have, we have a very open door at the district. Everyone that works for the student support services are like, they're accessible. And we have roundtables, special ed roundtables. They go out like, so, you know, it's kind of, you know, there's the communication out there and there's resources, and we need to go and knock on their door and ask them for help if we need it. So I would love to connect with you guys, and because, you know, things didn't, you know, my husband and I like fought hard for everything that is being serviced to our son. So, and also, you know, receive great resources here. We're in a very different place that we were almost 3 years ago. So, you know, I kind of, you know, in a way just want to encourage parents, like the resources are here, and, you know, we need to ask for them. So don't, you know, just ask for what you need because they're there. So just hopefully some encouragement for all of you.
Thank you, America. Most of you don't know, America is a CAC voting member from the National School District as a parent.
That's what I want to know. I mean, I don't even need a microphone. Yeah, I know. That's what I want to know. I was wondering who American Ellis was, so I'm glad I got to meet you face to face, and you seem you're the one signing off on this without the rest of us.
So
You're
this
involved.
is,
Why isn't the rest of the parents involved? Why can't we be in your position? Why are they making it nearly impossible for me, that I've been asking publicly in the board meeting, have other of my parents nominate me, then sending emails repeatedly, and the board members that are supposed to be on our side and helping us are too busy replying to their every need, but can't even shoot me an email back. So I'm just wondering, what did you have to do, cause I saw it, I saw that you were,
we're just very.
no, I'm just wondering, what did you have to do for you to become a member? Because why is it easy for you, why were you, how long have you
So
been a member?
maybe I can answer that. Each district has different policies as to how they nominate. That,
Isn't that the problem?
well, that would be something you would take.
How come in Poway, they just submit an application and they're approved?
But as I said, there are different selpas and everyone has different policies, and Poway is a single selpa district, so it functions
I'm
very
from
different.
National City and never get a letter, or I can Joe.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna ask. If you can check your emails, and if you're not receiving emails from the selpa, please let one of my staff members know.
The boards do.
No, I don't. No, I'm talking about emails regarding the CAC, because
I
every,
think what Roxanne's asking is, why aren't the boards responding to us?
yeah, I can't answer that question for you.
And another question
So,
is, why are they saying that there's so many people waiting in line before this? Parents didn't even know they could become members. I know parents that have been coming here for years that didn't know. I know parents that have been coming here that aren't even supposed to be here. They're supposed to be at a different subway, and nobody can tell her, hey, listen, this isn't your subway, go a little bit more up
Okay.
front. I saw in the paperwork, I was digging, I wanted to know who American Ellis was, to be honest, so I'm glad
It's
I saw your
America,
face.
not American.
What was that?
Oh.
It's American.
That's what I said American.
okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I will have my staff meet with you to just talk a little bit more about what you're going through and the policies that you're facing. But as I said, each local educational agency, each district has their own policy as to how they process nominations for the CAC. But what I'm going to ask is that you all check your emails, because we send monthly emails, newsletters out to every parent in the South County SELPA. It comes from a SELPA email account, and it has all the information about things that are happening within the SELPA. And then there are announcements that come out with regards to the CAC meetings as well. So if you are not getting those, please let my staff know. We have your email now that you've listed here, but if you are not getting those emails, please let us know. Now, for the sake of time, I want to make sure that we give Sweetwater the opportunity to do their presentation for the parents that are here for the transition aspect of this meeting. If there is additional information or additional meetings that you'd like to have with my staff, please meet with Diana or Megan in the back. She'll get your name and number, and she'll set up a meeting with the staff member to discuss it further. But I really,
One more question. There is somebody here who had to be ordered by the California Department of Education to be put on the CAC committee by her district. Why are we having to file complaints with the CDE in order to be members of something that we are court mandated or the state mandated to be a part of?
I can't answer that right now.
So just so kind of, you know, I didn't know that that the selpa existed. We randomly came across selpa, the East County, and I actually was doing the IEP parent academies with the selpa from East County because I had no idea this was something. Until someone told me, oh, this is here.
Did your district and our district boards approve it?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you go about doing that?
So we're not gonna let's not get into back, but this is not the
We saw
the
it
forum
December
for this at
15th,
this time.
Sweetwater, that's when she was approved by the board members.
It wasn't the, it wasn't Sweetwater.
Can I ask,
Okay, National City.
we have some parents here that are here for the transition. So, like I said, speak to Megan in the back, Diana after the meeting, get your name, number, and we'll be more than happy to meet with you to discuss your topics a little further. But I'm gonna turn it over to Diana at this time to just go over what we're gonna be doing with the local plan, and then quickly, and then over to Sweetwater for the remainder of the time.
So we this is our year to review the local plan and get input from our CAC about the local plan. We will have an opportunity for you to go on. We asked last month if you had any items that you wanted to provide input on. We gave out copies last month. We do have a copy on our website of the local plan. It's right here. You can go onto our website and locate it. I'll show you back.
Ms. Lynn,
Yes.
I just want to point out that the copies that were provided
They're separate documents, so let me show you, Ms. Hagan, on the selpa website, where you can find the separate components of the local plan. Why is this not clicking? There we go. So if you go to the governance section of our website, the local plan is up here, and there's separate sections. So we are gonna be reviewing section B, the local plan section B is what we're updating. But each of the sections, the annual budget plan is what you're referring to. That's done annually, and you can see that right there, it's posted on our website. So you can look that up and open it up, and you can see that portion on our website. Everything is available for you to look and review. But the local plan section B are the sections that we have to review and get input on every 3 years. Does that help, Ms. Hagan?
Oh, no, I completely understand. I'm just saying that for the sake of transparency and authenticity, we didn't get a complete copy of the local plan that is up for review. I just wanted you to be aware of that.
I think it's the sections. I think this is what's confusing for CAC, and that's the point that I want to make today, is that there's different sections. And when we say the local plan, it's a broad spectrum, but there's different sections. So section A is contacts and certification. Section B is really looking at the governance and administration component of it, but everything else is included, that piece of it, so it's all there for you to be able to access. Did you have a question, Dr. Furman?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I wanna say something. I'm one of those parents that received that package, and I'm telling you, you're right, no transparency, why are the financials out of it, of the package that parents are being, why do you guys want us to know about the money?
It's on our website.
It's on your website, but why isn't it a copy that you guys gave us physically? Why do we always have to be reading and looking for it, is my question.
So the section of the local plan that we're required by CDE to review is the governance section. As Diana stated, annually, the annual budget plan and annual service plan is up for review. So when that time comes, we're gonna be doing that review as well. There are different timelines for the local plan of the governance section that's being mandated by CDE, and local timelines for the annual budget plan and annual service plan. So when it's time for those reviews, the same thing will happen. We'll provide you copies of the annual service plan and the annual budget plan.
So everything was there except page 17.
And you have, and everyone, if you don't have access to our website, please make sure you see it here so that you can be able to access all these documents. All our documents are on the website for every parent, community member to access. Anything else?
And then the last part is our CAC art show. I do have packets. We would love if you as a parent want to have your child submit their own piece of art, and you want to kind of bypass the classroom and submit it. We've had parents do that in the past. I have packets here available for you to be able to take and have your child submit a piece of art. So there's a packet available for you to go ahead and fill out the submission.
Thank you.
I have a question about the art show. Who on the CAC, if there's no quorum and if no business can be conducted, go ahead, you go ahead and ask it.
I just wanted to ask, like, the first thing you talked about in the meeting was that you didn't have a forum, so your meetings are basically.
So the CAC art show is not a business meeting, it's just a function. That's all it is, it's a presentation for the parents. And so,
talking about the art show, I was talking about.
yeah.
I was just trying to figure out, because I looked at the financials and I can't find any line item that says, parent involvement. And I don't see anywhere that there's any money reserved for parent involvement, or that there's even any money reserved for this CAC art show. So I was just wondering if you could clarify where I can find that.
So when you can set a time with Megan in the back, and I'd be happy to meet with you and go over all that information. I really want Sweetwater to have the opportunity to present to the parents that are here. I would want to deprive them of this information session.
I do want to say that it seems a bit like out of touch to say that, well, the resources are online, because as parents, I have parents that don't speak English,
Yes.
don't have resources. My mom barely knows how to open up Facebook. So
Yes.
it's like, when you say, it seems just very out of touch to say, well, go online and look for this. If the children that you're we're talking about sometimes like also don't know how to access
Yeah,
it.
that was not my intent. My intent is just to say what the
I get it,
documents are
but
there.
sometimes we have to
But
think
if you're,
about all the things that are
yeah.
in play, and if you're not really customizing this for parents that are moving down south that don't have the same resources that come from Mexico, that don't know how to access the internet that we all know how to access, it seems just very out of touch.
So
and
I would invite you to come to our office, bring your mom with her. We have special education liaison parents that will be able to walk your mom through every aspect of the selpa, the CAC, and assist them and assist her in her IEP needs for her
And
students.
it's perfect, but I'm just saying, like, when you offer these things and like, you know, it's just in the moment where it's like, I just wish it was equal for all.
Got
Whereas
it.
if a parent that knows like how to access this, just not have to fight through and access this and that and A through Z to get the same resources and the same capacities that
Great.
all these others.
I totally understand what you're saying, I really do. And if you have some recommendations, if we are always open to suggestions and recommendations. I think this is some of the statements that people said, the collaborative moment moving forward, and that's what we're here about. We want to be able to do that, and so we welcome that. Nancy, I'm gonna turn it over to your team to be able to do the last half hour of your presentation. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm glad you're all here. Welcome, everybody. I know that this is kind of a scary transition for those of you who have a sixth grader. Just a little bit about me for background information. I worked at in a couple elementary districts for many years. One of my jobs was as a preschool assessment coordinator. And so what we did there is that for all the students that were going to turn 3 that would be coming to us, we did our assessment as a team. So there was a special ed teacher, there was a speech therapist, there was a school psychologist. If we needed somebody else, we brought them in. And it was always interesting to me because it was kind of a scary transition for families. Because if you had services before your child was 3, they came to your house. And they became almost part of your family because they would sit in the living room with you and your child, and they would show you how to interact with them, the kinds of things you could do with them to help them learn. And it was really almost like having an aunt or an uncle, if the teacher was male, come to your house and work with your child. So that was always a really scary transition for parents because we would go and assess. We actually did part of the assessment in the home, but our goal was to have an easy transition from the home to one of our schools. And there were many times that parents would say, you know, he or she is so little. Couldn't you have somebody come to my house? Just like Hope Infant or whatever Early Start program was working with a child. And I always said to parents, you know what, it's gonna be okay. This is just the natural growing process. And then they get into preschool, and it always kind of warmed my heart because after they'd been there for a year or 2, depending on their age, a lot of times they'd call me and they said, well, he's going to be going to kindergarten last year. Couldn't you stay in preschool another year? Again, it goes back to transitions are just hard. And that same thing would happen when they would go from kindergarten to 1st grade. And if they were in any kind of a special day class, a lot of times they had the same teacher for 3 years. So they'd be in the same class in 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and then they'd transition to somebody else. And every transition was scary. But I think this is one of the most scary ones because you've been with your districts, those of you at the elementary level, for many years, since your child was 3. And you know, they're 11 now. That's a long time. So they've almost become like that Early Start teacher who used to come to your home. It's like your family. So we know that this is a scary transition. And the thing I want to say, if you just remember one thing today, it's going to be okay. It is. It's a natural change, and your son or your daughter, they're going to be okay. We know changes is hard, and that's why we're here, to kind of make that as easy as we can and introduce ourselves to you so that you know that there are people you can reach out to. Okay, so our mission, and I think it's probably similar to most districts, is to provide services to our students to the best of our ability. We work in partnership with parents and teachers and communities. with all of our students. We want to support student success. One of the big changes for me when I changed from elementary to a high school district was that once we get into like middle school and especially high school, we kind of start to think about high school graduation. We start to think about, what happens afterwards. We need to help get our students ready to go on, whether it's college, whether it's a job, whether it's trade school. There are so many options these days. That's really always in the back of our minds, that we know our students are gonna be adults before we know it. And one of our most important jobs is to help our students get to that period so that when they leave us, they are ready to do whatever they are able to do. Okay, so there are also a couple other differences I think you'll find in Sweetwater. At the elementary district, some of our schools are very small, so a lot of times you have the school principal who may have been at your child's IEP meeting the whole time they were there. Sometimes it's the school psychologist in some districts, but a lot of times it's the school principal, or if the school is fortunate enough to have an assistant principal, a lot of times they're there. A little different in Sweetwater. So of course, there's still a school principal, but what you're gonna see is that the school psychologist for all Sweetwater schools, they are the administrator for special education. So they kind of oversee the special education program. You can see on the graph, they're kind of at the same level of an assistant principal. So whenever you have an IEP meeting, the school psychologist will be there as the administrator. The team will be fairly similar. So if your child is getting speech or OT or APE, any kind of service like that, the service provider will still be involved. So if you have a question about speech or OT or APE or again, whatever service they're getting, the person to call is the service provider. So if it's about speech, you call the speech therapist. If it's about OT, you call the occupational therapist, and so on. Your child will also have a case manager. And even though they do now at the elementary district, sometimes it's a little bit different because a lot of schools have one resource specialist, so one special ed teacher, and then they have one or two special day class teachers. Middle schools, most of them are gonna have 8 special education teachers, in addition to a teacher who's for either a moderate program or a mod severe program. So there's just a larger staff there, but your child will still have kind of your go-to person, your case manager. You will usually hear from them within the first couple weeks of the school year, just by introduction. Most of our teachers tend to send on paper, some of them text, some of them email, my name is so-and-so, I'm a special education teacher, I will be your child's case manager. So they're your first go-to person. If you have a question, if you're not sure, well, I know we talked about this, or this is in the IEP, just want to ask a couple questions, that's the person to go to for that. If your student is in like RSP or has some general education classes, they'll also have a general education teacher, so a classroom teacher. And so if, let's say your student is in general education science or history class, if you have a question about that, that's the person that you can reach out to. If it's IEP related, like, my son gets some accommodations, is he getting them? Reach out to your case manager because they're probably gonna be better able to tell you, so you know. And then all of our